Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the LWN Network. I am Tammy Nation, your host of Headline Hits Monday through Thursday, noon Eastern Standard Time here on the LWN Network. Before we head into the headline hits, I have a few things that I want to talk to you guys about and answer a couple questions. First off, as far as our Rumble only music video show that we do on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I spoke with LW yesterday after he got off work, and he said that the show will be on Saturdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rumble. If it's not a holiday, it was Easter weekend, so they decided not to do it. People have families and stuff they were tending to and enjoying time off. And also, if there's technical difficulties, it won't be on. But what we're going to try to do and what we came up with is a plan to put a short little video on there if it's not going to be live, because Rumble is a different entity than all these other social media platforms. So we're just going to come up with just like a staple video that if it isn't going to be on Saturday night, we'll post that up there so you guys are well aware if it's going to be on or not. But just plan on it being available at Saturday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rumble. It is a good time. It is like having MTV back. Great conversations in the chat. It's funny because you look back at some of these videos that are played, and these big hair bands that some of us grew up with no longer have hair, or they aren't big bands anymore. But it's just fun to go flashback. You know, you go through your youth, you go through all the experiences you had, and people share in chat their experiences as we move through the different genres of music that are played. So it really is a super good time. So that's what I have for that. And as far as LW's Facebook page, we have been waiting to hear back from Facebook for one. And then I spoke yesterday. I had a long conversation with a dear friend that is an internet expert. And he gave me a few different things that LW can try to get his Facebook back. It depends on what the hackers did and how they accessed it. So hopefully this weekend, LW will have time to see if he can go through that, fix his Facebook page, because it's his personal and professional page as well. If you notice, we haven't been posting there. We're just posting on my page, Tammy Nation on Facebook. But hopefully this weekend, we will have an answer whether he's able to re-access it or not. He's going to try to carve out some time to take care of that. If not, we will continue using Tammy Nation, and then he will eventually have another LWN Network Facebook page up. But also there has to be a little time gap there, because depending on what the hackers did, if he puts another Facebook page up, they'll be able to knock that down as well. We have 15,000 beautiful, wonderful followers on this channel that we don't want to lose. So even though it's taking time and we haven't heard back from Facebook yet, we may have to end up reporting the page so they take it completely down. So there's just a lot that we need to take care of yet. We have to try to figure it out, how they access the page and what they did to the page. And that's part of it. So a big thanks to my friend, you know who you are, that spoke with me for a long period of time, explaining the different things. He said that it's very unlikely that you're able to get a page back depending on Facebook, because it's hard to track, because I was going to have him track who it was that did this. So he's trying to do what he can do, and we're trying to do what we can do to bring that up and back for everybody, because we don't want to lose any of our followers. So that's the housekeeping stuff for today. I'm going to go ahead and play our little video here, and then I'm going to be back with headline hits. In the meantime, thank each and every one of you for your continued questions and support. And I want to say a big thanks to Chase and Carlene, our mods. They supplied the different links in the chat. If there's questions that you have, they answer it. If there's not an answer that they're able to answer because we didn't supply them with the information yet, post it and I will get the answer. LW is still working 60 hours a week, and he has other things he's taking care of on top of this channel. So once again, just thank you for the patience. Thank you for the understanding. We appreciate you mods for taking care of so much in the chat each and every day on all our different platforms. We love you dearly, and we'll get through this. We'll get through these hackers and everything else. So let's go ahead and play this video and get on with headline hits, everybody. So what we have first up today is RFK Jr.'s presser. Yesterday, I talked about headline hits that he was going to make a major announcement regarding the FDA and food and what's being put in our food. And what the big deal is he's going to put a ban on synthetic petroleum-based food dyes and all our favorite snacks, as we reported yesterday. We know that it's very bad for us. We know that some of these chemicals were burnt through the furnace, the coal, and then it's turned into to paving. Then they transferred that into fabric dyes, that chemical, and then they put the dye. They're like, hey, if we can dye fabric, why can't we dye food? And they put this nasty, poisonous chemicals into our food to make the less good food more appealing with vibrant colors. So that was the big deal. He wants to put a ban on all of that. Also, he was talking about sugar. He said sugar is addictive. It's like crack. As he says that it actually changes our taste buds so we crave it. And it starts with our children and youth when we start giving children the different things that are packed full of sugar. Kennedy said we probably can't do the exact ban on that, but what we can do is inform Americans on how much is in our foods, education and information. He said, how much sugar should we use? And he said, absolutely none. He said, but what I want to do is Americans have a right to understand and know what exactly is in our foods and what we are feeding our children and ourselves. He said, sick people only have one dream, and that's to feel healthy, free of pain, free of medications. And then healthy people have many dreams. We want healthy Americans who don't need to be sick and have issues because of the foods that we eat. He said that we need better science on some things regarding pharmaceuticals before we can enact policy. He said the big challenge is the science has been suppressed and or kept secret. Now, you and I, who are on top of things as best we can about processed foods and stuff, the obvious, shy away from it. But there's still a lot in foods that shouldn't be there. And he's saying that that has been suppressed, that we need to do studies on science and the effects of it to put it out there and show the American public, so that way we are understanding what is going on with our bodies, what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat. He said, as far as labeling exactly the ingredients of what's in every food on the store shelves, he said, we have to go to Congress about the additives. He said, but we will have a website and encourage companies to have apps so that when you and I can go to the grocery store in the private markets, moms, dads, whatever, can scan a barcode on every product in the grocery store, and it's going to show everything in it. And then we can make our decisions regarding the foods that we buy to feed our families. President Trump, he said, wants dramatic change within the next 2 years, not years and years down the road. And we will provide that for him, Kennedy said, and the American people. He said, actually, and this is very smart, it's always a chain reaction with everything. Every choice we make, everything that is put into place, there's a chain reaction. He said the cost of sick people is astronomical, each and every person that is sick and has to be on medications and so on. But he said it's a priority to fix this and eliminate the things in our foods that cause people to be so sick. So it was a very interesting presser. I was really impressed with it, optimistic about what can be done. At least us having the knowledge and information is going to be important. Him not having it suppressed anymore is a big step forward. Next up, we have an update on Tina Peters. Remember, she is the county clerk of Mesa County, Colorado. Well, the state of Colorado was unsuccessful at dismissing the DOJ inquiry about Tina Peters. This was a very big victory for justice. If you recall, LW did meet and interview Tina Peters, and she shared some of her story on the LWN network. The crime committed, they say, Peters upheld her oath of office by preserving election records. The Colorado Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, deliberately deleted, against the law, which documented the 2020 general and the 2021 municipal elections in Mesa County. Actually, SOS Griswold ordered and facilitated the destruction of all the election records in Colorado during that election cycle. Yesterday, the judge heard both sides, and instead of ruling in favor of the deep state, as it usually goes in Colorado, to silence Tina Peters and her election fraud findings, he actually continued the hearing for about a week in order for both sides to gather and present more succinct evidence for his consideration. At the heart of the hearing is the following question posed by the DOJ. Was the case orientated more towards inflicting political pain than toward pursuing actual justice or legitimate governmental objectives? This is in alignment with the Executive Order 14147, ending weaponization of the federal government. Next week, the DOJ will have the opportunity to present indisputable proof that Tina Peters' political persecution had zero to do with actual justice or legitimate governmental objectives. During the trial of Tina Peters, the judge and prosecutor even went to extraordinary lengths to cover up the exposure of Gerald Wood's alleged lies while under oath. Tina Peters was accused of stealing that guy's identity. The jury did hear evidence which was snuck in via some captured signal chats, and they rightfully dismissed the 3 corresponding charges against her relating to that stolen identity claim. Unfortunately, similar exculpatory evidence surrounding the other 7 charges were successfully concealed by the prosecution. Had it even been half a fair trial, she would have been exonerated on all charges. The bottom line, there's no doubt in anyone's common sense mind that Tina's trial, conviction, and sentences had absolutely nothing to do but inflicting political pain on her. The other main purpose was to make all other election clerks afraid to stand up against fraud they may see while administrating their elections. And that's what she was. She was a clerk, and she stood against the fraud. She kept the documentation that all these other people eliminated, and that's why she was jailed. This was especially important because if you remember, Tina was sent to prison only a month before the 2024 presidential election. To me, that sounds like election interference by the highest level. This case against Clerk Peters is loaded with a lot of evidence for the DOJ to pursue next week. We ask, why is AG Weiser, SOS Griswold, and DB Rubenstein so invested in making sure the deep state dam doesn't crack? Well, it's because there are many, many layers of lies invested in transferring their criminality to Clerk Peters. Like a huge dam of lies that it is, once it breaks, it's just a matter of time. It's all going to open up and collapse. To show just how desperate they are to keep their lies going, they won't even allow Tina Peters to be out on bail pending her appeal hearing in 2 to 3 years. So it's 2 to 3 years yet. So she's an almost 70-year-old woman without even a parking ticket. That is the biggest threat they feel to society that they've ever seen in their eyes. So you can actually go to the Gateway Pundit story, and it gives the complete backstory of Tina Peters, how she got here, what she did, and just kind of refresh yourself on the information if you've forgotten over time. They did a really good job covering Tina Peters and what is going on with her court cases. Next up, we have Elon Musk's Tesla company suffers a major financial hit, announcing Monday that Tesla's quarterly earnings dropped by 71%, marking the latest sign of bad news for Elon's electrical vehicle manufacturer as scrutiny of the tech billionaire persists. We know that people have been going out there. He was the hero. Everybody wanted electric cars until he became a part of Doge and supported Trump. Now, all of a sudden, no, they don't want electrical cars. We've seen the crazies out there burning and causing damage to vehicles, keying vehicles, Tesla vehicles, and their car dealerships. So the electric vehicle company reported a 9% decline in revenue just for the first 3 months of this year. Its earnings totaled $409 million, down from $1.4 billion in the first quarter of last year, the company said. Tesla's stock closed Tuesday afternoon at a $238 a share, a nearly 37% drop from the beginning of the year. These numbers come amid mounting scrutiny of Musk over his leadership of President Trump's Doge cost-cutting initiative. Musk acknowledged the blowback, but doubled down on the mission of Doge. So this is how good that of a man he is. His company is losing millions of dollars, but he doubled back on his feelings about Doge and stated, I believe the right thing here is to just fight the waste and fraud and get the country back on the right track and working together with President Trump and his administration. Because if the ship of America goes down, guess what? We all go down with it, including Tesla and everyone else, Musk told his investors. Concerns were raised in recent weeks that Musk is spending way too much time on Doge and not enough time on his Tesla company amid the unstable period for the company. But Elon did try to appease these concerns with them on Tuesday. He was telling his investors that starting next month in May, he's going to be allocating far more time to Tesla now that the major work establishing Doge is done. And we reported that here on the LWN network, Headline Hits News, that he was only supposed to work diligently until May. After May, we weren't sure what was going to happen, but this is what he had to say. In May, my time allocation of Doge will drop significantly. I'll have to continue doing it, he said, I think for the remainder of President Trump's term, just to make sure that the waste and fraud doesn't come roaring back, which will do. He said, if it has a chance, it will come roaring back. Elon said he will likely spend 1 to 2 days of the week on government matters for as long as Trump would like him to do so, and as long as it is useful. The company made clear is dealing with the ripple effects of the U.S. ongoing tariff war with other countries, notably including China. So I think Elon deserves a big thank you for doing all he has done for free, mind you, and at a cost of it affecting his company in the millions of dollars. I don't even care if he's a billionaire and the richest man in the world. When you lose millions, it's still something. He is sacrificing something to stand up for the fraud and corruption in our own government, because he's right. If we go down, everything goes down. So he went from hero to zero, as I talked about, because everybody that is affected in this in a negative way because they're cheating, stealing, lying, do not want the exposure there. So they're going against Musk. So I just think that he deserves a little bit of gratitude for doing what he has done. Next up, we have Klaus Schwab steps down from the WEF, which is the World Economic Forum, and now he's under internal investigation following whistleblower allegations of financial and ethical misconduct. Do you think so? Well, we talked about that earlier in the week that he had stepped down, but he is the Great Reset agenda godfather, and he abruptly resigned from his position of influence after a whistleblower letter accused him of financial misconduct, personal enrichment off globalist funds, and the abuse of young staffers, according to the Wall Street Journal. According to the whistleblower complaint, reportedly penned by a current and former employees, many of them of the WEF, Schwab used the forum as his personal piggy bank among the accusations they're holding against him or accusing him of: withdraw thousands in cash using junior staffers as gophers, charged with private hotel massages to WEF accounts, allowed his wife to book luxurious vacations disguised as business travel, utilized WEF property Villa Mundi as a private retreat while presenting it as a conference center. The letter also raised red flags about a toxic workplace culture under Schwab's reign, allowing decades of cover-ups, discrimination, and the silencing of women within the organization. According to Wall Street Journal, the board, which includes virtual signaling elites like Al Gore, global corporate titans, and celebrities, convened in an emergency Easter Sunday meeting, and Schwab was ousted. He hastily resigned is a massive departure from the WEF's original transition plan, which would have allowed Schwab to linger until 2027. Just weeks ago, Schwab announced plans to step down by 2027, but the whistleblower letter obliterated that timeline. The board now has appointed Peter Barabek-Lemath, the controversial former Nestle CEO and famous for stating that water is not a human right, as interim chairman. Sounds like a winner, doesn't he? Talk about trading one globalist for another out there. The WEF statement confirms it has launched a full independent investigation with the guidance of external legal counsel. The Schwabs absolutely are denying everything. Through a spokesman also, Klaus Schwab threatened to sue anyone spreading these mistruths while simultaneously insisting that that any hotel massage bills were always reimbursed. So that makes it okay. He was also reportedly waived his 5 million Swiss franc pension that he was getting to spin himself as an honorable victim. So obviously more to come on this. It's kind of crazy. Next up, we have the Supreme Court is hearing arguments over the religious rights of parents in Maryland to remove their children from elementary school classes using storybooks with LGBTQ characters. Another sensitive story warning here for the parents. This case is the latest dispute involving religion to come before conservative-led court. The justices have repeatedly endorsed claims of religious discriminations in recent years. The Montgomery County Public Schools in suburban Washington, D.C. introduced the storybooks as part of an effort to better reflect the district's diverse population. Parents sued after the school system stopped allowing them to pull their kids from lessons that included these books. The parents argue that public schools cannot force kids to participate in instruction that violates their faith, and that they pointed the opt-out provisions in sex education classes. The schools said allowing children to opt out of the lessons had become disruptive. Lower courts backed the schools, prompting the parents' appeal to the Supreme Court. So yeah, the lower courts are backing the schools because parents don't want their kids to participate in these books. This is an ongoing battle we've heard for years, but parents are still fighting. 5 books that are issue in the high court case are touching on the same themes found in classic stories that include Snow White, Cinderella, and Peter Pan, the school's system lawyers wrote. So I'm going to read you the books that are in question here. But you need to know that the school system lawyers think these are comparable to Snow White, Cinderella, and Peter Pan. The names of the books that are in question: In Prince in the Night, 2 men fall in love after they rescue the kingdom and each other. In Uncle Bobby's Wedding, a niece worries that her uncle will not have as much time for her after he gets married. His partner is a man. Love, Violet deals with a girl's anxiety about giving a Valentine to another girl. Born Ready is the story of a transgender boy's decision to share his gender identity with his family and the world. Intersection Allies describes 9 characters of varying backgrounds, including one who is gender fluid. So Billy Mogus, a board member for the Kids First Parents group that sued over the book, said the content is sexual, confusing, and inappropriate for young school children. Amen. I agree. The writers group PEN America said in the court filing, what the parents want is a constitutionally suspect book banned by another name. PEN America reported more than 10,000 books were banned in the last school year. So the decision about this is expected by early summer. We'll see what they have to say. But once again, they're fighting against children, not for children, and for their innocence. And to me, it has nothing to do with Cinderella and Peter Pan. The comparison is ridiculous. Next up, we have Trump released a statement here. And once again, he's fighting the good fight like he always does. But President Trump put out a statement regarding the judges and what's been going on with their decisions. We've covered that constantly here on Headline Hits. So some of the federal judges are trying to block the different moves that the Trump administration is facilitating, including DOJ and the deportation of illegals, as well as trying to get the ones we deported back in this country to have what they call due process. However, my question is, we did not all get due process when the criminals were brought into the United States and all the crimes that they committed here. But if some of the judges get their way, these trials they want held for the illegals would take, and we talked about this, over 200 years. And that's just speaking on some of them we deported. In other words, they're never going to face any penalties. They would be back here living pending their trial dates, and most would actually die before their courtroom chance, right? So here's the statement from President Trump he put out on Truth Social. I'm suing the law firm of Perkins Coie for their egregious and unlawful acts in the particular conduct of a specific member of this firm, only to find out that the judge assigned to this case is Beryl Howell, an Obama appointee. We've talked about Beryl Howell as well. A highly biased and unfair disaster, she ruled against me in the past in a shocking display of sick judicial temperament on a case that ended up working out very well for me on appeal. Her ruling was so pathologically bad that it became the talk of the town. He said I could have had 100% perfect case and she would angrily rule against me no matter what it is. It's called Trump derangement syndrome, and she's got a bad case of it, to put it nicely. Beryl Howell is an unmitigated train wreck, no justice. So Trump and his administration are fighting back, but you have to remember it takes time, money, effort, energy. And it's like a daily thing with these judges and their rulings. And we just spoke about earlier in this week over Easter weekend, how the judges came out and tried to block Trump again in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. on Easter weekend, putting out a ruling. They made an emergency ruling, and Justice Thomas and Alito had to come out and give a blistering statement against these justices. We spoke about that yesterday. So the battle is real. It's continuous. The concern is the backup that these bogus rulings are going to cause in the judicial system. And you also have to remember there's only so many lawyers to fight these cases. And I believe what they're trying to do is put a stranglehold on the Trump and his administration, clogging up the system to cause fatigue and overwhelm the lawyers with a ridiculous number of cases that outnumber the lawyers' abilities to deal with them. And that's going to be a problem. So basically, Steve Bannon, who is the host of War Room, he's been saying, listen, I don't like Juan Garcia. We talked about him many times because he's been transferred from CECOT. He said, look how the media has embraced and made this guy a hero. He said, if we bring him back for the hearing, it is over for the sovereignty of this country. Steve said there is a civil war going on in the Supreme Court. And from what I'm seeing and what I'm reporting, I agree with it. And I think you guys probably do too. Some of these judges do not want to give up without a fight. They don't care about what is right for the American people. They're trying to surpass the president's decisions and authority, which they don't have authority to do. They're just kind of strangleholding and clogging up a system. So it's causing time and effort. So they have to focus over here when there's so many things over here we need to focus on. So we just have to keep up the fight, pay attention and stay strong and understand really what is going on and the battle that we are fighting here in this country each and every day. So that's what I have for you for today for Headline Hits, you guys. Thanks for joining me. I will be back tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time with the last one of the week. We'll see what kind of grab bag of goodies we have in the news for tomorrow, because it's always something, isn't it? So thanks for joining me. Take care. God bless. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.